What is community? If you searched it on any platform, you get a bunch of results that may make it look like community is entirely business-based. It's all about growing your subscribers and your customers, but don't call them that. Call them your community, because that gives it this disguise of this being personal, even though as a business owner, you don't know any of these people. Or you might think community is something you find on comment sections and in forums online where people are getting together and discussing different topics. But community is more than just people online yelling about the same things that make us angry. Historically, community has meant the personal connections in our lives. And in the midst of the isolation epidemic, community is more important than ever. Greetings, and welcome to Community Centered, where we talk about what community is, why community matters, why you matter to community, and most importantly, how to start cultivating it wherever you are right now. I'm Ellie Whittekins, and I recently attended the Homesteaders of America conference in Virginia in October, and it was a great event full of a lot of great people, a lot of great speakers talking about their communities, and that did include people that they sell to, but you could tell that when they spoke about community and these people, that they were close and personal to them. And I've been on the other side of that interaction. I buy a lot of food from farmers markets, so I am buying from people who are farmers and homesteaders, and there is far more personal connection than we usually get in the corporate world. And it was very refreshing to hear people talk about community that way, and it just reminded me that that's not really how a lot of us see community. That's not our experience with community in general. And I think a lot of times we define community as just synonyms for groups of people that are maybe around us rather than the deep personal connection that community is supposed to be. So I wanted to put together a video that is more comprehensive in terms of what community is and what we are actually trying to build. That being said, let's jump on in. Now, there's no shortage of definitions out there for community. The best way I can sum them all up is to say that community is a group of connections defined by a central identity. Oftentimes, the definitions out there for community have that identity as a locality. It has it as maybe religion or profession or other things along those lines. The problem I have with those definitions is that means there's a lot of people in my community that I'm not connected with. And that doesn't make sense to me. So the way that I approach it is I define my community by myself. I am the unifying factor of my community. All of my friends, all of my family, my book club, my knitting club, my church, all these people that I know are connected to me, and that is my community. I don't have connections within my community that I'm not actually connected to, and that makes much more sense to me in terms of what community is. It also helps because it makes me entirely responsible for creating and maintaining my community. It's not just something out there that just happens. It's something I need to be a part of. And maintaining community is important because we don't want it to fall apart. Ultimately, we want these connections in our lives because we want people to talk to. We want people to share our thoughts and lives with so we can be seen in this world. We also receive the opportunity to help and serve others when they need us and give them the opportunity to do the same in return. And by defining community this way and understanding the purpose of it, it really brings into focus key features that we need to be looking for when building our community. And they are local, frequent, personal, and hard work. Let's break those down. First off, location matters. If people are going to show up for us and help us when we need them, then they have to be near us. Having a lot of friends online who are hundreds or thousands of miles away doesn't help you if your car breaks down on the way home from work one day. That is something someone nearby can help with. First time I had COVID, 3 different women took it upon themselves to bring me chicken noodle soup. A friend recently helped me get from work to home and back when my car was having some work done. Those are things that are only possible because I live near them and not hundreds of miles away. Your community has to be local to be present and meaningful in your life. The second thing that is required is that you are connecting with the same people frequently. Someone that you are seeing only once a month or once every other month is going to be less involved in your life than someone you're seeing every week. And if we want people to know us we need to be sharing what is going on in our lives consistently. And trying to cover a month's worth of information is just going to be much harder than sharing a week's worth. Also, someone is less likely to show up for you if the only time they've heard from you in months is when you come calling asking for help. So, developing and maintaining those relationships requires connecting with people frequently. The third element is connections have to be personal. You have to be you. You have to be willing to be yourself around people and share what is really going on. I think one of the reasons social media is so unfulfilling is people feel the need to present these curated lives. But it's amazing being around people and not feeling like you have to present yourself a certain way. When I'm with my community, it's casual me 100% of the time. And shockingly, they still like me for it. And I can take comfort in the fact that they must like me for me. As I said before, we desire these connections because we want to be seen in this world. And if you are presenting a false image of yourself, then you're not really being seen. So you have to strive to make these connections personal and be yourself. Last but not least, something all communities require is hard work. Community doesn't just fall into someone's lap. It's hard work to go out there and start building it. It's a continued effort to maintain it. And it's hard to show up for someone when they really need us. It requires going out of your way, and it's never convenient. But if what we ultimately want is people around us that care, then we have to take responsibility and show up when they need us. And those relationships are ultimately deepened and solidified by the hard work that we put in. Now that we've talked a little bit about what kind of connections we need in community, let's talk a little bit about the characters that populate them. They fit into three main categories: acquaintances, friends, and inner circle. Your acquaintances are going to be the people that if you run across them in the store, you stop and say hi, right? They're people that you see at your groups, you kind of talk to them regularly, you know their names, and you know a little bit of information about them, but it's not too personal. Essentially, they are the people that you only have small talk with. Your friends are going to be people that you would see one-on-one. They're going to be the people that you would put the effort and energy into making plans with. You know, invite them to a dinner, a barbecue, let's go see a movie, those type of people. And you would also give them more personal information of what's going on in your life. Finally, you have the ride or die best friends in your inner circle. And these are going to be people that you know that you can tell anything and everything to. They are the people that you know have your back and your best interest in heart, and vice versa. Now, it's important to point out that everyone in your community starts off as an acquaintance. It isn't first grade anymore where you can become best friends with someone just because they had a cool backpack. Everyone starts off with just, you know their name and you know a little bit about them. And over time, you get to know them. You eventually discover people that you want to become friends with. And from there, you discover friends that you really can be completely honest with and go all in, and they can be your ride or die best friend. But it's important to remember everyone starts off as an acquaintance. So when you're building your community, you have to start with acquaintances. I know a lot of people don't like the small talk. They don't really want to just shake hands and go through the, oh, who are you and what do you do for a living conversations. But you have to in order to get to those other levels of friendship. As I said before, if we're going to have community, we have to be responsible for it and be good stewards of it. And being a good steward of community means accepting a strange dichotomy. Our communities are both permanent and temporary. Now, communities change. People get married, they move away, they pass away. The community that we have today is not going to be the community we have a year from now, and certainly won't be the community we have 10 years from now, because things just change. With all this change, it can be really easy to want to conserve energy and not put the effort in. But creating community requires you giving it your all and really investing in it. It means participating like the community is permanent. Now, don't get me wrong, you will still have community if you're working on it. You will have community a year from now and 10 years from now. It just won't always look the same. And that's where we have to accept that certain things are temporary. there are a lot of people involved and they make decisions about their lives, and they won't always be a part of our community, or things will change. New leadership will come into our organizations. And it's really important that when that happens, we understand that things are temporary and that we can let go of what was in order to focus our energy on what is now. As I said, participate like it's permanent and understand when the time comes that certain things are temporary and adjust to your new community. I hope this has helped you understand community a little bit better, both what it is and what it requires. If you have any questions on community, please leave them in the comments below and join me here next time for further discussion on how to build your community here and now.